Sasikalji, Saranu. Hello and welcome to my channel Chai Samose. Today we're going to discuss about the incident which recently took place in India, and also we're going to discuss about the abuse in the terms of sexual abuse, which can be taken place anywhere with anyone. So let's proceed with the episode without wasting our time. Let me introduce our guest tonight, Prithvi Kaur. So let's start the discussion about the incident which took place recently in India. So Prithviji, so being a woman and also a working woman, how what is your like what you gonna say about this incident? How does it affect you personally?
As a working woman and as a human in general, I think the incident that took place in India has really shocked not just me but everyone. And it's a very shameful thing to have happened in the premises of a hospital. And well, it's not justifiable to say that why did it happen to a doctor, but it shouldn't happen with any human. But to think that it could happen in a place where people go to get treated or human lives are saved, but I think that is where humanity actually ceases to exist.
Prithviji, we came across with certain articles about the similar interview where the principal of the school or the dean, what you can say, because she was the medical student and plus she's doing her job as well. And we came to know that she haven't get rest for more than 36 hours. So can you imagine the person is serving the humanity for more than 36 hours and what she get in return, that is really shameful. So how you gonna say, like, it's just don't think that it was a hospital, but just consider as a workplace. So this can be happen to anyone, like around the world at any workplace. So what are the thing which you gonna advise to our generation, whether it can be a man, whether it can be woman, how you can uh, avoid this kind of sexual abuse within your work premises?
First things first, I think it's very important to acknowledge that sexual abuse doesn't just happen to women alone.
Agree.
It can happen to men, it can happen to children as well. So if we talk about safety, it's not just at workplace alone, but it's also during the commute to and from workplace and maybe school, university as well. And I think each organization that is involved, for example, if it's workplace, then it will be your company. If it's the school, then it has to be the board of the school board, the board of directors. If it's the university, then it has to be the chancellor, the principal, whoever that's involved should have a very strict guideline about sexual harassment at workplace, at school, at university. And it should be for everyone, not just for women alone. And it's very important to ensure that the kind of language that they allow at workplace, for example, maybe it's just your manager who is passing a comment to a fellow lady colleague saying that, oh, you look very sexy in that outfit. I think that is the inappropriate comment to pass at workplace. It's very unprofessional and it can lead to something more serious than that. If you want to comment on someone's dressing sense, or you want to say that a person looks nice in a particular dress, then maybe you can just say something like, oh, that dress looks nice on you. But it's about how you convey that message. The choice of words you use can actually tell a lot about what's going on in someone's mind.
So Prithviji, being a mother, what you gonna educate your children in future? How how to prevent or how to avoid this kind of scenario?
Sexual abuse is not just at workplace, but it can start from a very young age. And children are an easier victim because
Soft target, you can say.
they're a soft target and it's easier to abuse them. because they may not know exactly what's happening to them. So they may not be able to go and tell anyone, whether it's at school or their parents. They may not be able to express what happened to them. As a mother, I do have a deep concern about the safety of my daughter. She just turned 1 this year, and of course I would want to know that wherever she is, she's safe. And I think it's very important to teach children about sex education and good touch and bad touch from a very young age. I think a suitable age would be around 3 to 4 years old, where they understand the meaning of good touch and bad touch. And that's also the age where they will start going to maybe nursery, play school, and they will be interacting a lot with other children and other adults in their life. And it's important to ensure that they know that there are certain boundaries, and they must not allow people, it doesn't matter if it's the opposite gender or same gender, but there are certain areas that other people are not allowed to touch.
Okay. My second question, it's related to the sex education. So, our, like, especially our culture, where they are not very much comfortable talking about sex education, and whenever there is, there is a very it's a wall between the parents, the children and the parents. It's a wall where the children are not very much comfortable to discuss about their problem, because we, as certain parents, I am not talking about we, there are people who are understanding as well, but there are certain parents also who don't understand the kid, what they're trying to say. So how to overcome that boundary between the relationship? Like, what can the parents do in order for them to make sure the child is safe? So what they can do?
I think children are an empty canvas, and they will only be uncomfortable if parents have made them to think, or have created such a space at home to make them feel that this is a taboo topic where they should not openly discuss with them. But if the parents itself are encouraging talks related to sex education, or discussing this openly with children. When I say openly, I don't mean about the entire process, but teaching them about what are the boundaries, or how to interact with the opposite gender, or what kind of interaction is okay and what kind of interaction is not okay, and of course the good touch and bad touch. But that is mainly for younger children. But as the child grows, they will become a teenager, and they will be curious, because it is something that it is a kind of topic that at teenagehood everyone will be curious. So instead of telling them that, oh no, you should not talk about this, I think it's better for them to hear it from their parents, rather than from their friends who may give them the wrong information. So it's better if it's coming directly from their parents, and we can choose how to convey that message to them.
Okay. Yeah, there are the word you say, taboo, that's really happening around our culture, because whenever we have seen that, whenever the people are trying to talk anything about that, the parents say, no, this is not our culture, it's our. They are so much confused between culture and information that they are combining everything. They are mixing the topic together. Culture is something different, information or education is something different. So we are the people who provide the world the teachings about this thing, and now we are people who are getting uncomfortable talking about those things. But apart from the parents, how the school play the role to avoid any uncertainty? And also, do you think there should be anything which comes from the school as well?
I think first things first, of course, school being a place of education, and that would cover all kind of education. For example, if I were to give an insight about my school, I think when I was about 9 or 10 years old, our school actually had a talk organized specially on sex education, where of course, they separated the boys and the girls, so so that it doesn't make the whole session uncomfortable. And they educated girls about period, about good touch and bad touch, and I'm sure they did the same for the boys as well. And that gave us a space to understand and to ask questions without being judged, because it is something new for us. And I clearly remember that, because when I talk about, when I hear about these things today, I realize that in certain parts of the world, it's not being openly discussed. And I'm not saying that maybe some countries may choose to incorporate it into their syllabus, but in some countries, maybe the education board does not wish to incorporate, but at least have from time to time, have a session to create that awareness. Maybe dedicate a week to sexual abuse, talking about sexual abuse, or encouraging people to learn more about sex education. And when I say learn, I'm not saying through pornographic material, but actually understanding about the hazards of engaging in unsafe sexual practices, or maybe what is the importance of consent, because we may not forever stop our children from going out and engaging with the opposite gender, but it's also important to tell them that, hey, look, there is a certain boundary. You may speak to the opposite gender, but there's a certain boundary that you need to adhere to. And I think the school also plays a role in creating that boundary.
So yeah, we have seen that the many time the men's are targeting the school going children as well. Even I don't want to go to that topic, but even the 2 years old girl is being targeted as also. So not only the school, not only the parents, even the society play a very huge role in all this thing. When they see that one person is eve teasing any girl, they, instead of avoiding, if they have take action against that person, maybe this thing he won't get guts to go beyond that point. This can stop him there and there itself. But what society, people like you and me, what they are doing, if something is happening wrong, okay, it's happening with them. It's not happening. So that mentally, one day, it's going to affect them also. And then they say, why we? What part you are playing in order to make your society secure and safe place, whether it's a man or woman?
For example, a man is walking by and he sees a woman and he starts eve teasing her, or maybe starts staring at her. But he forgets that maybe at home he has a mother, he has a sister, and there will be other men who do the same to them as well. You want other people in the society to get involved if someone is teasing your sister, but you wouldn't do the same for someone else's sister.
Agree. That's true.
So it has to start somewhere, and why not if it begins with you? If you can ensure someone else's sister or mother or daughter reaches home safely to her family, the good that you do, the good that you contribute to the society will eventually come back to you. And it has to start somewhere. So if you can't change the people around you, at least you can change yourself.
At least be a part of initiate.
Yes.
Just initiate the changes from your side.
Yes.
Good. So, okay, this is about the education and the purpose. But again, there are boundaries within the parents also. They need to understand where they have to stop, where they have to proceed, and how much information they have to share. Like if you say that, if you see that in the Western countries, they have so much of education, they have so much of openness, but still they cannot control the teenage pregnancy because they are beyond your control. The childrens are beyond your control. So you need to make sure that you have a very thin line between
Being a parent.
being a parent as well as being a teacher, also being a friend. So these are the two things. When your child need a teacher, you can be a teacher. When your child need a friend, be their friend. But when the child is wrong, be parents at that specific time, because you are the only person who going to change the habit or attitude of your child. Yeah, we are discussing about this RG hospital in Calcutta. Have you do you know that this is not the first accident which took place within the hospital premises? There are many things since 2001. There are many things which happened there, like mass resignation, suicide, attempt to suicide, like many doctors suicide within the premises. What do you think? What can be the reason, like between that? Is it a workload or something other which is cannot be shared within the?
I have read about all the previous incidents that took place prior to this incident, the recent one, and it definitely indicates that there is a underlying issue that needs to be addressed. And I think it's also the circumstances under which the body was found and how it was initially, in the preliminary investigation, it was concluded that it's a suicide. But looking at the condition of the body, although I'm not an expert, but I think anyone can say that it's clearly not a suicide. But for the police that's involved in the investigation, for them to pass a comment or make a remark like that at such an initial stage means that there is definitely something they're trying to cover up. And not just that, but how the principal refused to resign or take accountability for what happened. And not just that, but I also heard that they started doing some renovation immediately after. And there was a lot of riots that took place in that hospital, which means that the crime scene was tampered with. And that would have ruined a lot of evidence as well. So there's a bigger agenda that's being covered up. Clearly, they're trying to hide something, and maybe it's just a speculation. But maybe the victim, would have come across some information, and because the way the body was found is not a normal rape, it's like there's a lot of personal enmity towards her. It's like someone is trying to take revenge. And there could be a bigger agenda there. Maybe she discovered something and someone is trying to take revenge from her. But that's just a speculation. I'm not saying that's definitely what happened.
I totally agree with you on this, because maybe just after this this incident, there is one more article I read about the hospital where doctors and the management were caught selling the dead bodies,
Yes.
unclaimed body of the orphan people. They abandoned dead bodies, you can say. They found that they are selling the bodies. So maybe this is just one of the black or dark activities which is taking place. There are many things more. Why the people are committing suicide? Why the people are giving the resignation? And resignation is not like one or two people; it's more than hundreds. So
there could be organ harvesting that takes place as well if they are so brave to sell off bodies. And I mean, hospitals do sell bodies for the purpose of medical research and education, but it's done in a proper manner through proper documentation. But I believe this is being done under suspicious methods. Then of course there's something bigger than that. Maybe there's a whole racket that's being
about to expose.
Yes.
That can be the reason. the people are angry, they're showing their anger by protesting, and government is taking action against the people who are protesting. So what do you think, what the government role should be here in this case?
I'm going to pass a remark that's maybe going to be rather controversial, but I did come across a movie where, I did come across a video where Mamta Banerjee was actually involved in the protest herself. But the protest is against the government, so I don't really know what is her purpose of being there. So I would say that the biggest joke is on her, because instead of actually taking strict action against the
Management.
the criminal or the management of RG Kar Medical College, she's actually involved in a protest, and that's not going to ensure
Help.
that's not going to help the family of the victim in any way. That's not going to help the victim get her
Justice.
justice. That's not going to bring the criminals forward. So I understand that Candle March is a way to show respect to the victim, but just ending at Candle March is insufficient. There needs to be something bigger than that. Candle March and protest alone is not going to bring the change that we need in the society.
Other than this protest, recently I came across another video where they put the containers across the road so that the protester won't cross that lane or won't move forward. So people start comparing the government of West Bengal with the Pakistan, where same thing happened when the Imran Khan protest took place, and this opposition put the container across the road so that these people cannot reach to the Imran Khan, join the protest. So this thing happening currently is a recent incidents. What do you think, like as a human, like not just forget about the government, just forget about everything. As a human, what will be the punishment for the criminals, this kind of criminals which do the inhumane activity, which is not just rape or murder, it's just torture and murder. It's not a normal rape, I can say. It's just a torture where fingers were broken, they burst the eyes of a victim, they bite the flesh out of their body, they broke the leg, they broke their hip. So this is not something a normal person can do. This is literally a psycho case. So what do you think, what should be the treatment for what should be the punishment for those kind of people?
Now, if I'm talking about rape outside of India, we would have heard a couple of rapes happening maybe in US, in Canada, in other countries as well. But that is usually up to rape alone, not including the way they treat the victim. And even in that circumstances, usually the criminal is faced with a very heavy punishment. Sometimes it's death penalty. But in this situation, it's more than just rape alone. It's a very inhuman way of treating your victim. And if it's just about sexual gratification, I think no, it was beyond that. That this person who actually did the crime is a sadist. This person has a very psychotic mindset. Maybe he hates women. Maybe, I don't know, somewhere along the line he was mistreated by women, which resulted in the way he's treated this victim as well. And I think just death penalty alone is not enough, because death is a very easy way out. And you're not really sending a message to other potential criminals out there, because to them it will be like, okay, I have raped this person, what's next? That's nothing, that's the end. A dead body cannot feel anything. But a rape victim, if this victim had survived, she would have lived her entire life in a very difficult situation. She may not have, I'm not just talking about recovering physically, but also mental recovery. She may not have ever recovered from that incident. So, taking that into consideration, the cybercrime team has various methods of ensuring the security of the country. So I think one way that they can contribute is through monitoring of the dark web, and also monitoring. I'm sure that as much as the government does not wish to disclose this, but our phones are constantly being monitored. What we view, what we browse is constantly being monitored. And so the cybercrime team can actually try to ensure the safety by searching for specific words, for example, child pornography, or some kind of pornographic material that is out of the norm, that suggests the person who is viewing it may potentially engage in rape. And I think it's also about the frequency in which the person is constantly viewing pornographic material. Is the person doing it maybe, for example, once or twice in a week, or is doing it consistently every day for maybe 10 to 12 hours? And I'm not saying that the person who's doing it for 10 to 12 hours is definitely going to go out there and rape someone, but that could be an indication that this person is addicted to sex. And sex addiction may result in rape. So, and child pornography in some countries is actually strictly prohibited. It is a crime, and people engaging in child pornography should definitely be brought to justice. And not just people who are engaging in child pornography, but the creators itself, whether it's a close relative or maybe a human trafficker, they should also be brought to justice.
So we have to make sure that these people, whoever is involving or creating or promoting these kind of things, also need to put behind the bars.
Okay. Even in our work premises, I'm sure we have come across situations where, for example, maybe the manager, the head of department is in a powerful position, and some may use that to their benefit. For example, maybe they want to tell their fellow employee that if you want to get this promotion or you want to get this raise, then you need to come into my room and engage in some kind of sexual favor. And the person may be in dire need of money and may choose to do that because I wouldn't say it's consensual, because they are being forced to do it. Or maybe the person, the manager or the head of department or someone in a higher position may say that if you want to keep your job, then you need to do this for me, or otherwise I will terminate your employment or fire you. Then that is misuse of power, abuse of power, and the person may be forced to do it either way because they need to ensure that their family does not lose income.
Yeah, this is, I can say that this is the most common way that
The punishment should be so severe to the extent that the criminal has to live with it for the rest of his or her life. So I don't think death penalty or life imprisonment is...
can help either way.
Yes.
So,
I think it's not justified.
So, see, the technology is developed so much already. So we have police, we have cyber, which take the activity of the internet's, the usage, what you do, what internet search you do. So does anything related to that they can help to avoid this kind of scenario? Like, because criminal is not criminal until the crime happens. So how to avoid this kind of scenario before it get happen? Like,
of course, prevention is better than cure. If we talk about punishment, that is the cure. But prevention would be like what you mentioned, we have so much of technology in today's time and place, and I'm sure a person who engages in rape or this kind of criminal activities would have some kind of history down the line. It doesn't happen overnight, and the cybercrime team can play a part in ensuring that this kind of incident can be prevented through monitoring of dark web and
where the people are sexually exploited within the premises, when the person with little bit of power utilize the power to get what he want. That's a very good point. So thank you for your view, Prithvi. So before we end our episode for the day, would you like to share anything?
Okay, so we've covered how everyone plays an important role to ensure the safety at workplace, at school, and outside as well. And I think it's not just one person's effort, it has to be a collective effort from parents, from teachers, from schools, from workplace, from the government. Everyone needs to contribute to ensure that the society is a safe place. And everyone needs to come together, and if you see something wrong happening, you should voice out against it, not be under the impression or not be afraid and say that, oh, I do not want to get involved in any police case, because if it can happen to someone else, it can happen to you, it can happen to your near or dear ones. So don't be afraid to speak up if you see something wrong happening. And if you contribute to the society as a human, although it's one person, but maybe other people may see that, okay, someone has chosen to do this. It's a domino effect. You do it, someone else will see and follow suit. And eventually, we can all collectively create a better society, a safer society for everyone, for our future generation to come.
Very well said. So this is all from today. The conclusion of today's episode is like it's not only the one person who make the changes, it's everyone contribution is necessary to make the world better, not for a woman, not for the kids, but for everyone. The management of the company, the management of the premises, the management of the school, parents, society people, you, me, everyone need to be involved in this in order for us to make this society a better place to live. This is all from my side. This is Happy again, and keep watching Chai Samose. Have a nice day to you. Bye bye. Sat Sri Akal.